we go. Sarah here. Welcome back to another episode of Your Fucking Welcome. Today, I am talking you through something that I'm really excited to share with you. I'm kind of geeking out about it a little bit, if I'm being honest with you, because we're going to talk about scalable offers. And more specifically here, I want to break down for you why two of my signature programs, Show Up and Blow Up and the 500K Sales System, those two programs combined, why they've made us about 1.5 million since 2017. And again, the nitty gritty, the reasons, the logic behind why we've been able to scale those programs to the extent that we have. Because again, like the scalable offer conversation is something that I just really get fired up about. I really feel like it's something that I enjoy doing and enjoy talking about more than anything else. I think that I'm really fucking good at it. I've honestly, quite honestly feel like I am better at it than anybody. Not to be obnoxious about it, but I really do feel like I get this and I see this so clearly when it comes to my own stuff, when it comes to client stuff. And so my goal and my intention in this episode is to be able to give you that insight so that you can turn around and take, whether it's one of your existing offers or maybe you create something new, you're able to get it to a place where you're essentially, focusing on less stuff, better stuff, right? You have a program that not only sells to more people, but you can sell it over and over again without necessarily having to work harder. And, I'm just going to throw in my 2 cents here in terms of the industry and coaching and all that kind of stuff. And I just want to say that I personally feel like with the way that things have changed over the past, let's just say year and a half, it feels to me that it's more important than ever that I don't want to use the word niche because I feel like that's such a scary word for a lot of people. But I do feel like it's more important than ever that we're not playing into this vibe or this belief that we can just talk about whatever we want all the time and we're qualified to help everybody with everything. And, again, we are the niche and we're ever evolving. And so therefore our business gets to be ever evolving. And it's not even that I disagree with that necessarily, as much as I just think it's really important for us all to recognize that the more people, especially like business coaches specifically, the more people that pop up that are doing similar things, it naturally becomes a little bit harder to stand out. And I'm not saying any of that in this negative, fear-based way. I'm saying it in this way of reminding you that every single time you commit to really owning your expertise and owning what you do really well versus, again, coming from this place of like, I want to say more things, I want to talk about more topics, I want to help people with more stuff, that essentially waters down what you're trying to do, and it becomes the situation where people less so know you for this, and this. And again, in the industry as a whole, I feel like with so many of the changes that have happened, it feels to me more important than ever that you are owning the fuck out of who you are and what you do really well, and being repetitive with that message, not just because I feel like it's a smart strategy, but I feel like a lot of times so many people, and certainly I've done this, I can own that, but I feel like so many people are making their jobs harder without realizing it because, again, they feel like they're on this quest to talk about more things, share more things, and they wind up being on this hamster wheel of having to talk about more things and having to create more things when they're being honest with themselves. What they're really craving is a little bit more peace and a little bit more sanity. And so I'm saying that as I dive into this because I'm going to share with you points here that I feel like reflect what I just said so clearly, in the sense that these two programs are so similar. They have such similar messaging between the two offers, and that's why they've done as well as they've done. And I feel like I want to give you the gift of seeing that and understanding that so that you can carve out something similar for yourself that essentially allows you to work smarter, not harder. And I hate that expression because I feel like it's so overused. While at the same time, I think that's what we all want, right? We want to work smarter, not harder. We want more money for the work that we're putting in. And I really think giving yourself the permission to be a little bit more streamlined and simplified in terms of what you're talking about and what you're selling really is a really great gateway to do that. And so, I want to break all of this down, and I almost use the term case study, but that feels a little bit too formal for me. But I really, again, want to bring you through the reasons and the logic behind why these programs have done so well based on my years of experience of selling them. And so the first reason is what I kind of already touched on here, but they had really specific overall objectives. And so what I mean by this is, number one, many of you know this about me, and yeah, I've said it a million times, but I'll say it again in case you're new here. I really deeply believe that when we're talking about offers, especially scalable offers, and I'll talk more about that in the second point, but especially if we're talking about scalable offers, we need to be able to showcase to people where they are now. And by buying this offer, by working with us in this capacity, they're going to be where they want to be. And that doesn't mean in the grand scheme of life, it means they have a certain outcome for a certain thing that they want. So what I mean by this is, let's say I was selling a program about, growing your Facebook group. Island B is the having of the successful Facebook group, having a Facebook group that is super engaged, that is growing all the time, that people are buying from. That person who buys this program from me, they want more than just that, right? Island B is where they're married and they've got the 2 kids and the dog and they've got millions of dollars and they've written the book. It's not this ultimate Island B that we're trying to strive for. It's just the Island B, the destination in the context of what it is that we're teaching. So again, your ideal clients for this offer, they are on Island A, but they want to be on Island B. And your program, your offer, your coaching is the boat to get them from Island A to Island B. And so when it comes down to both of these programs, I had this very core, clear, specific messaging in terms of my style, in terms of like what marketing and what making money means to me. And so both of the programs, the Island B is this promise, is this objective of you're going to learn what to do every single day to make money every single day. And so I think it's such a big point and such a helpful marketing sales tool to remember that when you are selling something, the more you can have like 1 sentence, 2 sentence that really relays what the program does for people, the more people are going to understand what it does and why they should buy it. Like that repetition is really, really, really important here. And so my point is that as I started, back in 2017, and I was really talking about, because I was embodying it myself, the importance of doing 3 things every day: growing your audience, nurturing your audience, selling to your audience. It wasn't a situation where that was gimmicky and I was like, oh, I'm going to start saying that these are my 3 things. It's just what I deeply believed. It was what I was doing myself, and it was what I wanted to shake everybody and make them understand that with just doing these 3 simple steps and just making this your focus and not overcomplicating your marketing, this is the thing that allows you to make money every single day. And again, just letting it be that simple. And so as I saw people really resonating with that message, and again, it was resonating with me, it changed my own life. I knew that it was a really good message. I knew that it was a really great point that people needed to know and hear and understand. It felt very clear that I had this very, again, sexy core message that people were really attracted to. And it almost felt like I would be doing myself a disservice by only having that be encompassed in one offer. And so the way that I've always explained it is that show up and blow up to me, or let me say it this way. The 500K sales system is like a loaf of bread, right? This is a weird way to say it, but it's literally how I visualize it. It's a loaf of bread. So we've got this 500K sales system. It's this big loaf of bread, and it contains, to me, pretty much everything, right? Everything that I believe that you need to do in order to grow your audience, nurture your audience, and sell to your audience, and therefore make money every single day. And it's the nitty gritty. It's the details. It's something that gives you this system so that you can work this system over and over and over again as you evolve, as you grow. And again, it's nitty gritty, right? All of the details that I could possibly put in it are in there. But then I knew that I wanted to be able to create those guidelines, that similar information in a more streamlined container, right? I wanted somebody to be able to take it and transform their life, their business, their bank account in 30 days. And in order to do that, they really need just the basic information, the foundational information. And while all of the other details might be helpful, if our goal is fast momentum and making money every single day quickly, they can't necessarily spend, 8 hours watching a program. I wanted to make it be this thing where I'm giving you the bare bones, the must know information, and then I'm also getting you into action. And so 500K sales system became this 6-week live group program where I would teach the lessons live, and then we'd have the Q&A coaching calls after that. And then show up and blow up became this thing where people could sign up get the content, but again, it was a very streamlined version of the content. And then we also attached a challenge to it because I knew I wanted to get people into action in this way. I felt and I believed so deeply that if they just started growing their audience every day, nurturing their audience every day, selling to their audience every day, I knew that they could really create fast momentum. And I wanted to give them this push, this reason to do that. And so again, the core messaging was the same. The core vibe and the core energy was the same, but they were different based on the container and based on what I was essentially asking of people, like how to actually use this information, right? One was more of a learning tool, 500K sales system, and the other, show up and blow up, was more of a challenge. And so I just want you to like really hear me when I say that, because I find that so many people will have this really sexy topic or this really sexy thing that their people really resonate with. They buy the program with ease, right? Like let me say it this way. I'll see people who have this one program and it sells like hotcakes. It's this situation where it is very much a program that every single time they run it, they know it's going to work beautifully. But then they'll have like 2 or 3 other programs in their toolbox, in their, offer suite, however you want to say that. And then it's kind of like they've accepted the fact that like those launches aren't going to be as good. And so, I mean, I'm saying it that way because I want you to see, hopefully clearly here, that like you can massage, you can tweak, you can edit any offer to make it just as good as the other thing. And I think that like, again, as you're scaling, as you're growing, we want to be in a situation where you're, again, focusing on less stuff, better stuff. And so we're not accepting this idea that like, oh, this is my rock star in my offer suite and the other stuff is just okay. What can we do to make them all rock stars? And I feel like the way in which we do that is by embracing what has really worked historically for our audience and putting a new spin on it. And the other part of this that I want to say here is that many of you have heard my friends rule, right? Like I always want to have programs that you can sit there and say, this is the one about this is the one about that. Meaning there's a clear defining line between this program and that program. And so I see a lot of people where they're launching things, and I feel like there are people who sometimes look at my stuff and like, I don't know, I'm not saying this in a rude way, but I can tell they're kind of like new to the online business world. And maybe they're like, oh, what's the difference between 500K sales system and momentum? And I'm like, if you read the sales page, they're very clearly different. Like they're not the same thing. I'm saying it that way because I feel like in, this being my expertise, this being what I do, I can see people, and even though I'm not crazy familiar with them, I can still clearly see without, having to do a ton of research or whatever, it still feels very clear to me that like their programs are basically the same thing with a different name. And so I'm saying it that way because when you do that, I believe that it doesn't work. If the core messaging is just the same and then the offer is the same, it becomes really difficult to have your people see what's different from the next thing and why they should buy this over that. Not to mention you're getting a bunch of questions that I sure as fuck don't want to answer over and over and over again. And so I'm saying that because Show Up and Blow Up and 500K sales system, they're very similar, but I'm very clean and clear about how I am able to articulate and explain the differences between the two. But number two, they are radically different in terms of how they deliver. And so having that very clear difference, I feel like has been such a big deal in terms of people being able to see why they should do one thing versus the other, as opposed to getting confused and thinking that they're basically the same offer. I have people who will take 500K sales system and then do Show Up and Blow Up, or vice versa, because maybe they got one piece of it, they got all the information, and then they're ready to more challenge themselves, or they need to kind of have a comeback moment and challenge themselves to show up for the 30 days. Or it's a situation where people get moving for those 30 days and then they want to take it further and learn all the details. To me, what order people take it in is none of my business. It's their business. My only job is to make sure that I have two offers that deliver beautifully this objective, this destination that my ideal clients want, but also in a way that they're different from one another, so that I can clearly define that and I can clearly explain that so that people know clearly what the difference is and why they should buy one versus the other. The second thing that I wanted to say, and this is just because I believe in it deeply, and I just want to throw this in here as, I don't know, this is more of a Sarah rant, Sarah point versus it being a reason why, I don't know, these programs have made me what they've made me. But for the love of God, I need so many more of you to understand that selling to groups is so wildly different than selling to one-on-one. They're not the same thing. You can sell them the same way, meaning like strategically, if I'm selling something for $7 versus $7 million, I'm going to still check off the same boxes. I'm going to still do the same things in terms of my overall sales system. But if I'm selling something that is supposed to be for one person versus an objective, a destination that is supposed to be for the masses, I have to make sure that I am selling one destination versus a million destinations. So the way that I often like to say this is like, if I have 4 people, let's say booking discovery calls with me. I don't just do discovery calls, but for the purpose of this example, let's say I have 4 people booking discovery calls with me. And then I'm going to, pitch them on working with me one-on-one. In those 4 conversations, I have the ability and the time and the space, because we're in this conversation, I am able to showcase to them, okay, I understand where you are. And by working together for 90 days, 6 months, whatever it is, here's where I believe that we can be in working together. You're on island A, but here's where your island B could be for you individually, based on your situation, based on your circumstance. If I'm attempting to sell to the masses, if I'm selling group things to a lot of people, and I'm also not having individual conversations, I need to be able to showcase where the fuck I'm bringing people, and all the people have to be brought to the same place because it's a group program. And I think that this is a big issue for a lot of people. Something that I say all the time is the program is the program. And so what I see a lot of people do is that they'll, let's say, be running a group program, and it's a situation where, maybe people are asking this question, that question, they're in this stage, that stage. And the owner, right, like the business owner, finds themselves twisting themselves into a pretzel, trying to make every single person happy and making sure that they're speaking to every single person's stage of business. And you can't do that, because you have to uphold the integrity of the purpose of the group program. You sold something to the group, and you said that you were going to bring the group to one specific place. And so if this person wants to go here now and this person wants to go there, of course, you can support them to an extent, but you have to keep the aim, the goal in mind in terms of, again, what you sold the thing to be on, and you're trying to get everybody to the same place. And if somebody wants more custom support, they can hire you for that. But the program is the program. The objective of the program is the objective of the program. And so again, it's so different. And again, I feel like a lot of people don't understand this. And I feel like I do this really well because of my business model. I feel like I have a unique business model versus a lot of people online, especially, not to say like overall, but I feel like I'm unique in the sense that like I've been selling to groups and I've been selling every day, for the most part since 2017. So like I wasn't in a situation where for the past 5 years, I've been selling one-on-one coaching mostly through, group programs. I've been selling to the masses for a while. We have well over 4,000 customers in our database. And so again, I'm saying that not to toot my own horn necessarily, but to remind you here that like I know the art of selling to the masses really well. And if your intention is to sell a program and to sell it over and over again to lots of people, you have to recognize that it's not the same thing as selling one-on-one. If you're attempting to sell it you would a one-on-one thing, and you're treating it like it's custom based on every person that comes through your DMs asking questions, you're going to put yourself in a really messy position because you lose sight of what the program actually is. And so again, I want you to really understand here that like it has to be a defined objective when it comes to your group program. And again, I feel like a reason that these programs have performed so well is because we have done that beautifully and consistently from the time that we started selling them. The next point that I want to make here is that it might sound similar, but it's a different point to me, is that my core messaging has remained the same. And I feel like, especially if we're just talking about like business coaches here for a moment, right? Let's just say it generally. Most business coaches, their intention, their goal is to help their clients make more money, take their business to the next level. And that could mean a million different things. If we have a million different business coaches in the room, a million different business coaches are going to have a million different strategies and philosophies and beliefs in terms of how you do that. And so me having this belief, right? Grow your audience every day, nurture your audience every day, sell to your audience every day. me repeating that over and over again, and more than just repeating it for the sake of repeating it, me believing it so deeply and saying that over the years, I've been able to train, convince, whatever word we want to use, my audience to understand that, like, this is my belief. This is my philosophy. This is what I believe is needed when it comes to building a business and making more money and getting paid every single day. Versus, again, talking about this new philosophy or this new way of marketing, this new shiny object each and every day. And don't get me wrong, it's not as though I haven't done new things or evolved a bit, but my core messaging from 2017 has been the same because it's my core belief, right? It's been my core belief since 2017 that has remained the same. And so it's a situation where my people, even if they have been in my world for 4 years and never bought anything from me, but they watch my free stuff, they listen to my free stuff, they know my style of doing business. They know what I believe when it comes to what I think is required of building a business, making more money, all of those kind of things. And I think that a lot of people, because again, they feel like they have to talk about more things, they're not giving themselves the opportunity to do this well enough, because they're talking about, again, all the things that you could do, or all their beliefs when it comes to business. And they're not setting themselves up for their audience to really, really, really get what they do and how they do it. And like, I feel so clear that, you know, when people sign up for my programs, no matter what it is, for the most part, most people, I'm just going to say this because this is a side note, but I feel like it's a funny kind of side note. Long story short, I don't want to go into the whole thing, but it was like 2 weeks ago. I was tagged on Instagram from this guy who I'm not super familiar with, but out of nowhere, he tagged me and he started talking about my sales page for Unapologetic Empire. And he kind of ripped it apart, and he had some somewhat valid points. But it felt, I don't know, it felt a little bit like, I don't want to say attack. Attack feels like a little bit too strong of a word, but I definitely felt like, I don't know, insulted and, I don't know, like torn down, right? Like based on some of the things that he was saying. And he was kind of like, I don't want to say accusing, but he was kind of speaking to the fact that like some of my stuff was not in integrity because I was being a little bit vague and I was being a little bit generic in terms how I was going to support and guide people. And it was just so ironic because I'm like, if you don't know me and you look at this sales page, like, I get it. You're right. If you're just some stranger coming across me for the first time, it might have looked like word salad. It might have looked like fluff. But I was explaining to him, I was like, this is for a $3,500 a month mastermind. Anybody that comes to me wanting to work with me in my mastermind, they've worked with me before. They know my philosophies. They know how I do business. Because again, his point was like, you know, you're not making it clear about your methodology or how you do business. And I was like, I would love to sit here and report to you that strangers are banging down my door to pay me $3,500 a month for my mastermind, but it's just not how my business works. Like, it's just never worked like that. My business, especially like the higher you go in terms of how you hire me, those containers are made up of people who really know me already, who have experienced my work already. I wouldn't get a random stranger, and I also wouldn't allow a random stranger to come into a mastermind like that unless I felt that they really understood how I do business and how I operate and, you know, what my beliefs are, all of those kind of things. And so I'm saying that because, you know, maybe I take it for granted because I've been doing this for so long and I feel like I really am in it with my audience still. But I do feel strongly that for the most part, especially if you've been paying some sort of attention to me over the years, you know how I do business. You know what I believe in. You know what my core philosophies are. And so I'd like to believe that for that reason, when people sign up for my stuff, whether it's Show Up and Blow Up or 500K sales system or anything else, you know what you're getting. You're not like wildly surprised. You're not taken aback like, oh, about what I'm talking about. Like, you know the deal. And so I'm saying that because, again, I think these programs have performed beautifully because even if people haven't like bought anything from me and they've been in my world for a while, like I said, when they sign up for these programs, they come into it fairly prepared for what they're going to receive and again, how I do business and how I operate. And I feel like I've kind of like primed them, if you will, to like step into the program prepared because they know what we're about to dive into. And so again, I feel like that allows people to more confidently step into my programs, even if they haven't, talked to me or anything like that. Like in terms of a sales call, I don't do sales calls, especially for, these types of programs. But somebody feels confident and like sure of what they're about to get, which makes it an easier yes, which again, like aligns with why these programs have performed and sold the way that they have over the years. And then the final point that I want to make, I could talk about this all day long, but we've got to wrap it up at some point. The final point that I want to make today is that, and this might sound like a simple and obvious thing, but, and again, my hope is that you never think that I'm sharing anything like this with the intention of, here's why Sarah's great and tooting my own horn. But at the end of the day, I'm really proud of the way that I deliver to my clients, to my people. My intention, my goal always is to give you what was promised, charge a rate that even if it feels scary to you, right? Like, $500K, I think the highest we've ever charged for it was $1,897. I can understand that like maybe for $1,897, somebody might be scared to invest that amount of money. God knows I would have been at one point in my business. I know that that's not a small amount of money and I respect that. Balanced out with, I also know that what I deliver in these programs makes that investment nothing. For what I make possible in my programs, and again, what I deliver, it's nothing. If I'm missing something, I get it to you. If you tell me I'm missing something, I make sure I make it happen. And again, I'm not saying that in a way of like I'm tooting my own horn here, but I think so often we can so forget how important it is to give people a good experience and deliver on what you promise. And so, I think it's this thing where sometimes we're all in such a rush, right? We're in like survival mode, wanting to go on to the next thing and making more money on, whatever the next thing is going to be that we sell. And we forget that we've got like clients right in front of us that are in our programs right now and delivering a little bit extra, showing up a little bit more energized and, being that much better of a coach. That is marketing, right? Like we're worried about marketing the next thing, whereas we're not understanding that being more present in that moment actually serves us so much because people are therefore going to get better results. They're going to share more testimonials. They're going to, rave about them to other people. They're going to suggest your offers and stuff to their friends, whoever else it is. And so I'm saying that as well because I think it can be very easy to move on to the next thing from this place of like, maybe you have another idea or maybe you want to create something because you feel like it's missing either from the online space or just in general. And you want to create that next thing, but doing something and doing it well over and over again, year after year, month after month, whatever, and allowing people to really get to know the name, get to know who you are and what you deliver in this program. They're getting to know the fact that, oh shit, this program clearly seems to have a lot of great testimonials, a lot of great results. Okay, I am a little bit scared to spend that $1,897, but you know what? These 50 testimonials, they can't be wrong, right? Like I've got to kind of believe that this could really be the thing that helps me. And so again, it comes back to the thing that I said earlier, that I want so many more of you to give yourself permission to like get into this place where you're honoring less stuff, better stuff, instead of always constantly thinking you have to create and do more, because actually doing less but doing it better is going to put you in a situation where you can have 2 core programs make you that amount of money instead of creating more things attempting to get to that same goal. And so my hope is that was helpful. I want to share with you that doors have just opened for my program, Simplify and Scale. And, to paint the picture here for you, Show Up and Blow Up, right? My signature programs, Show Up and Blow Up is this accelerator. The goal is for it to be this 30-day thing, know what to do to make money every single day, right? Grow your audience, nurture your audience, sell to your audience, start making money, transform your business and bank account in 30 days, quickly, swiftly. Let's fucking do this. The 500K sales system is the next step. And 500K sales system is more about like looking at the bigger picture, and we're taking those same philosophies of growing your audience, nurturing your audience, and selling to your audience every day. But it's like, how do we do it for more of the long term? What are all the offers that we have to think about? How do we do this as this well-oiled machine over the course of a year or years? And to me, I love the 500K sales system because of the fact that it could be for that brand new person that just wants to throw out offers and get shit moving. But also, I mean, I feel like I use the 500K sales system, to make millions, right? Like, it's still the backbone of what we do for the most part in terms of coming up with new offers and how we sell them, the time frames, all of those kind of things. And so that kind of feels like this like intermediate offer. Simplify and scale is the next level of that. Simplify and scale is for when you know that you have sold shit, you know how to sell shit, you've sold lots of shit, right? And then you're ready to make it be a little bit easier. You're ready to, thus the name, simplify it all and scale it all. Make more money more strategically with the work that you've already done. And so it's going to be a situation where, yes, you still have that foundational backbone, right? The program still has the foundational backbone of how I sell and what my sales system is, but we're talking about how to go bigger, how to go beyond 6 figures and allow yourself to have bigger launches, allow yourself to scale those offers to more people more times per year. And again, go bigger in a way that doesn't require so much more work from you. How do you repurpose your content? How do you outsource? How do you handle sticky client situations in a CEO mindset instead of, a triggered little girl mindset? It's that next level program. It's my highest level group program that exists and that will probably ever exist. And this is my opinion, of course, but I feel like there's a real shortage of high-level strategic programs online. And I think that that's a real shame. And Simplify and Scale, to me, is the representative of what I feel is missing in the industry. I love the way that we've organized this because it's not, if many of you have taken my programs before, like if we're looking at 500K sales system, I'll normally do that as like one core lesson. I'll do it live and it's a longer lesson. And I'm, never sorry for that because I feel like I leave no stone left unturned with you building out the sales system. Simplify and Scale, I've really strategically created it so that there's all mini lessons so that I can add to the lessons when and if I need to. I can update them. You can find exactly what you're looking for. You don't feel like you have to watch this big lesson to, learn something. And it's all like the nitty-gritty stuff that takes you to multiple 6 figures and beyond. And I haven't launched this program in a while, but my intention is to launch it more frequently after this round. And so to be adding to it more frequently and really giving you, that 6-figure entrepreneur, everything you need to go bigger. So you've got this content library. You've got lots of lessons in there. And then we also have 12 weekly group coaching calls where, you can ask me anything and we have the time and the space to dive into your, more intense needs in terms of your business, your offers, all of those kind of things. And it's a higher price point. The price is right now $6,000 paid in full. And then obviously we have payment plans. A weekly payment plan is available until this Friday only. But the higher price point also creates a circumstance where there are fewer people in the container. I wanted to max it out at 20, but then I was like, that's kind of silly because I don't see myself getting way more than that, right? So I'm like, okay, well, what am I going to say no to 22 for? That feels silly. But I'm saying that because it is more of an intimate space, because it is the higher price point, because it is a higher level program. And for that reason, you have that higher level coaching and higher touch coaching with me. And I really do feel like for the price, for what is included, it's a no fucking brainer. And so I feel really clearly that next time I will raise it. Like I want it to be about $10,000. I haven't launched it in a while, so I wanted to do it for 6 this time. But if you are somebody who wants those bigger launches, you want more money with more ease, with more simplicity, you don't know how to grow your audience bigger, you don't know how to get your offers out there to more people, you feel like you're constantly reinventing the wheel, like this is the program that you need, truly, truly, truly. And so I would love to have you, of course, SarahDashDan.com for all the details as usual. I hope that was helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, I would really, really, really appreciate it if you took the time to rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps the show a ton, and I would be super grateful.